You see this yet? What did POTUS say? My statement marking 1 year since the unspeakable brutality of October 7th attacks by Hamas in Israel. Thank you for this, Telestraka. Let's take a look. Statement from President Joe Biden marking 1 year since October 7th attack. On this day last year, the sun rose on what was supposed to be a joyous Jewish holiday. By sunset, October 7th had become the deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Also, like, I don't know why I haven't really dug into this. I think it's mostly because this is a ridiculous thing to say. I feel like that's not true. I feel like this may be discounting deaths and violence against Jewish people in different regions, and also are we just gonna not count the Yom Kippur or 6-Day War? How many Israeli people died in that? How many Jewish people died in those conflicts? I feel like it's not an accurate number. Today marks 1 year of mourning for more than 1,200 innocent people of all ages. Okay, we're still running with 1,200, including 46 Americans massacred in southern Israel by the terrorist group Hamas. 1 year since Hamas committed a horrific act of sexual violence. We're still running with that. 1 year since more than 250 innocents were taken hostage, including 12 Americans. Also, let's remember that there are dozens of IOF operatives that are not innocent in that 250. 1 year for the survivors carrying wounds, seen and unseen, who will never be the same, and 1 year of a devastating war. On this solemn anniversary, let us bear witness to the unspeakable brutality of the October 7th attacks, but also to the beauty of the lives that were stolen that day. I have met the families of the hostages and grieved with them. They have been through hell. My administration has negotiated for the safe release of more than 100 hostages, including Americans. We will never give up until we bring all of the remaining hostages home safely. God, gotta do a little bit of self-suck in here, okay? Not even a little bit, just a ton of self-suck. I'm the first president to go to Israel during a time of war. We helped defend them just the other day. Look how fucking awesome I am. I love Israel. Please, Bibi, don't try and get Trump elected. Please, I swear, please. Bibi, I love you. I also strongly condemn vicious surge in anti-Semitism. Oh, I'm glad we included, that part. Where's the part about Palestinians? Where's the part about Arab Americans seeing violence against them? Because, there were 3 Palestinian 20-year-olds, one of whom is now paralyzed, who were attacked in a hate crime. There is a 6-year-old who was stabbed to death in front of his mother by their landlord. I believe that in history, will also remember October 7th as a dark day for the Palestinian people because of the conflict that Hamas unleashed that day. I was listening to a great segment from Chapo yesterday where Felix rightfully said that every piece of Western media coverage completely removes, discounts, ignores even the possibility of nuance amongst Arab people, be they Palestinian, Lebanese, Iranian, doesn't matter, Houthis, doesn't matter. Any kind of nuance, any kind of varying perspectives, any kind of, different hopes and desires. The conflict, the complications of this dilemma, this dynamic, is entirely put upon the Palestinian people, that it's your fault. Your oppression is your fault. You're the reason that your conditions are the way that they are. No one is responsible except for you. This individualism that is at the core of the American mind, the hyper-individualist mentality, because they fundamentally do not see Palestinians as human beings capable of their own thoughts and desires, which is why it's so easy for the State Department to just mow over these regions. Is what they're saying when they invoke agency. Yeah, God forbid indigenous people have rights. God forbid indigenous people resist their own oppression. We will not stop working to achieve a ceasefire deal in Gaza. That brings the hostages home, allows for a surge in humanitarian aid to ease the suffering on the ground, assures Israel's security, and ends this war. Israelis and Palestinians alike deserve to live in security, dignity, and peace. We also continue to believe that a diplomatic solution across the Israel-Lebanon border region is the only path to restore lasting calm, to allow residents on both sides to return safely to their homes. On this day of remembrance, which also falls during the holiest of the Jewish calendar, we honor the indomitable spirit of the Jewish people people and mourn the victims of October 7th. May the memory be a blessing. Okay, interesting that the White House would put out this statement when, where is it? Oh, here it is, from Jerusalem Post. U.S. to give Israel compensation if it hits acceptable targets in Iran. Israel has vowed a response to the attack, which saw over 180 missiles fired at Israel, killing a single Palestinian in the West Bank. Yeah, compensation. What a weird way to try and frame,
hey guys, we're doing accountability. We're reining in our attack dog.
On top of that, Blinken approved a policy to bomb aid trucks. Israeli cabinet members suggest. We share Israel's concern that Hamas may seize and destroy aid entering Gaza or otherwise preventing it from reaching the people who need it. If Hamas in any way blocks humanitarian assistance from reaching civilians, including by seizing the aid itself, we'll be the first to condemn it, and we will work to prevent it from happening again. The following day, after an additional round of cabinet meetings, this time helmed by both Blinken and Biden, an outline of the decision was publicly announced by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office. We will not allow humanitarian assistance in the form of food and medicines from our territory to the Gaza Strip. And, in a separate Hebrew version, quote, in light of President Biden's demand, Israel will not thwart humanitarian supplies from Egypt as long as it is only food, water, and medicine for the civilian population located in the southern Gaza Strip or moving there. And as long as these supplies do not reach Hamas, any supplies that reach Hamas will be thwarted. The Hebrew word to thwart is frequently used by Israel to describe targeted killings and assassinations. The previous policy of thwarting all humanitarian supplies from entering Gaza was conveyed to Egypt as an explicit threat to bomb aid trucks, which they did. 1 year mark of October 7th attack prompts U.S. intelligence warning of violent extremism. Let's take a look. A joint federal intelligence bulletin obtained by CBS News warns of potential violent extremism and hate crimes committed in response to the 1 year mark of October 7th attack on Israel by the militant group Hamas and resulting in the conflict in Gaza. The bulletin, authored by FBI Department of Homeland Security and National Counterterrorism Center, was disseminated by federal law enforcement to local law enforcement partners late Wednesday. The agencies found that the 1 year mark of the attack, quote, as well as any further significant escalations in the Israel-Hamas war, may be a motivating factor for violent extremists and hate crime perpetrators to engage in violence or threaten public safety, the bulletin read. Now, in every instance where Israel escalates its genocide and its slow ethnic cleansing prior to October 7th and afterwards, anti-Semitic violence across the world increases. Is that because of deeply, ideologically motivated anti-Semitism all over the world? In some cases, yes. But also, when you are doing genocide in the name of Judaism, in the name of protecting Jewish people, you have now tied those actions to the very existence of Jewish people. And those who are too stupid, too hate-fueled, or motivated enough to simply eat that propaganda hook, line, and sinker, congratulations, you made more anti-Semitism in the name of fighting anti-Semitism. Despite the fact that Zionism in and of itself is the most anti-Semitic thing currently on this planet. I really hate how Israel and the U.S. tries to say that all Hamas, Hezbollah, etc. are armed terrorists. This is not true. There's a civilian and military wing. Right. It's like saying we don't like political violence in America. Political violence is always bad, as if our military is not doing political violence, as if police aren't political violence, as if policies that immiserate people all over the world and in America isn't political violence. If the military is at the command of the party in control, right, the executive, the commander-in-chief, then Biden is doing direct violence, attacking the Democratic Party or attacking the Republican Party in a targeted strike, a preemptive strike by any, non-US state actor or militant group. That would be no different than what Israel is doing. But if you do it against the US and its allies, then it's terrorism. Israel's been bombing Hezbollah hospitals and healthcare staff because they associated with Hezbollah. That's outright terrorism, but the mainstream media will never admit it. Okay, well, like, they're attacking Lebanese hospitals and healthcare staff. Let's be clear about it. Like, the Hamas-run health ministry line is ridiculous. When a child goes to bed hungry in the wealthiest nation in world history, that's political violence. It is. Poverty is violence. I love the idea of the U.S. State Department saying, oh man, there's going to be a rise in, extremist violence. Okay. Will violent attacks against Palestinian protesters in America today fall under that designation? I don't think so. It's only extremism when people speaking out against genocide. Right.